This is Amy, and I want to show you how to manage your classroom through Google Drive. The first part of these directions are going to be for students, and feel free to play this in your classroom. So students, I'm talking to you, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to navigate to your Google Drive. So if you have Gmail in your district, you can go to Gmail and hit Drive, or you can go to your new tab in Chrome and you can go to Google Drive from there. So in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to pretend that I am a student. So what I'm going to do as a student is I'm going to create a folder in Google Drive, and I'm going to give it a very specific name. Now you give it the name that your teacher tells you to, but teachers, if you just want to use this naming convention, this maybe should work. So students, I want you to put your last name, mine is Mayor, comma your first name, dash, notice there's no space here, and now the class that your teacher's teaching. So your teacher will tell you what this is. I'm going to put English 3 dash and then the class period that you have with this teacher. I bet your teacher's probably got this written on the board. So I'm going to pretend that I'm in first period. I'm going to create this folder, and there it is right there at the top of my drive. And now I'm going to set some permissions on it. Students, this is your work too. So you're going to put a check mark by the folder, and you're going to go to More at the top and then Share. And now you're going to give your teacher edit rights to this folder. No one else, only your teacher. So I'm going to pretend that my teacher is Mr. Leahy, and I'm going to give him edit rights to this folder. Now, I don't want to drive Mr. Leahy crazy with 150 emails today, so I'm going to turn off notify people via email. He's going to know that we're doing this and be able to find the folder by the name, so he does not need an email. So edit rights, teacher's email address right up here. Got to make sure you get this right, and turn off notify. Now we're going to click share and save, and OK, and done. So students, now we're going to just do a test because I want you to know how this works. So what you're going to do now is you're going to open up your folder and you're going to create a document within the folder. So see how we know it's open? Here it is listed up here at the top. So we're going to create document, and it's letting us know your teacher's going to be able to edit this document too. Is that okay? Yes, we know that. So we're going to click create and share. And now let's just call this sample assignment and type whatever your teacher tells you to in here. So maybe you just type your name and your class period and your class. So the purpose of this is for you to see that you can make a file inside this folder, and for your teacher to make sure that you did this correctly. He or she can click through the list and see that you actually have a file in there. Now students, I want to give you some advice about this. I'm pretty sure your teacher is going to tell you to make all of your assignments for this classroom within this folder. And that's good, and you should do that. But please know that there's a revision history that's maintained on every document. So if this is an English classroom and your teacher tells you, we're going to start working on this draft today, and we're going to work on it, every day for 2 weeks, and then it's going to be due. When your teacher goes to the revision history, he or she is going to be able to see all of this information. If you do something like this, if you go over to Wikipedia and you grab a bunch of text from Wikipedia and you paste it into your paper, I'm going to do this so that you can see how it looks. So I'm just going to take whatever's on the front of Wikipedia's page today and Control-C or Command-C or whatever your device is that you're using, and I'm going to paste all that text in there. Well, we both know you can reformat that so that it looks like you wrote it, but if we go in to see revision history, there's no revision history on this text. Do you see how it all appeared at one moment at 8:31 a.m.? Well, that's what happens when you plagiarize. It's all there all at one time. It also looks really funny if you choose to write this essay or do this assignment the night before at 9 o'clock and it's all done between 9 o'clock and 9:30. So if you're supposed to be building writing over time, don't try to defeat this system. There really isn't any way for you to do that. You really do have to do your work, as you move along through a process, which is what your teacher needs to see. Okay, so this is the student side of this lesson. And as for students, what you need to know is you may be creating a folder structure within here, but all your assignments go within this folder. So teachers, now I'm going to talk to you. So we're going to look at this now from the teacher point of view. All right, so now we're looking at the teacher side, and teachers, you're going to go into the designation at the bottom of your Google Drive. So here's my Google Drive. I'm going to scroll down and look for Shared with Me. This is where all of your folders that your students have created, this is where they're going to show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the top one in the list, and notice I'm looking at second period now. And these should all be created in about the same time frame too, so that'll make it easier to find. But notice here's the end of second period, and this begins first period. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key. I click the top one. I selected the top one in the list. And now I'm going to roll down until I see the bottom. I'll hold down the Shift key and select the one at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these to a folder I've already created. So how you create a folder is you choose the Create button and then Folder. I've already made mine, so you make yours and call it whatever you want. And then I'm going to click over here in this yellow selected part, and I'm going to move all of those subfolders, all of those folders students have shared with me, I'm going to put them into second period. So here they all are, and now I can click through and I can see if my students did the assignment that I asked them to do. And I can see if they're having trouble, need help, whatever. I can also go into the documents that the students have created, and I can work in those documents with them. I can comment and all that kind of stuff. Now, you don't want to share this level folder with anyone. Don't give anyone edit rights to it because that would apply down to these folders underneath. But what you could do is create another sort of folder structure where students could view documents, a view-only folder. So let's look at what that would be like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back up to my drive, and I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to pretend that I have two classes that I teach. So two different subjects that I teach. We call them preps here, so two different preps that I teach. So I'm going to put teaching files, and I'm going to remind myself these are view only, and I'm going to create a folder. So here we are, teaching files view only, and then inside here I'm going to create another folder for each class I teach. So let's say I teach English 3, and then I can create another folder if I also teach another subject. So maybe it's English 1. Now, inside here, I can also create whatever kind of folder I want, but that's not the kind of help you need. You know how to do that already. What you need to know is how do you let students see these files? Well, there are a lot of different ways to do that. If you don't care who sees them and you're fine with them being open to anyone who wants to see them, then you can just go to the sharing settings on the folder. You can change the folder from private to anyone with the link can view and save it. And click Done. So now when I'm clicked into this folder, this URL up here, this can be turned into a bit.ly or a goo.gl and shortened so that anyone can get to this. And I got these extensions from the Chrome Web Store. So if we use the goo.gl now, this is the URL that goes to that folder. And you would actually even be able to use that. You could type that in from the video and get to this folder. And any of your students would be able to get there. If you want to keep this locked down to only your students, well, you do have to manage that. So that can be, time consuming, but you definitely can do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into a list of people that I collected yesterday at a training I did. And what I had them do is go to a spreadsheet, that was available for edit, and I had them sign in and I had them give me their email addresses. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select down through this column of these email addresses, and I'm going to copy. So you can use Control C or Control or Command C on your keyboard. So I just copied that whole list. And now if I want to keep this folder that I just made locked down so that only my students can see it, I'm going to go back to the folder and I'm going to pretend those are my English 1 students, and I'm going to share, and I'm going to paste now Control V or Command V into that, and I'm going to give them view rights to that folder. And I am going to notify them via email. So I'm going to say, here are the documents for your English 1 class this year, or whatever you want to say. And then when I click share and save, that's going to generate an email that goes to each one of those people, and it's also going to make that folder show up in Shared with Me in Drive. So they're going to see that there. So I hope that helps you manage your classroom. I don't want to be remiss in not telling you about the tool called Doctopus, which does this stuff for you automatically. Now, you have to think about that though, because are these skills that you want your students to learn, or are they tools that you want to take over as a teacher? So it's completely up to you. This Doctopus is amazing. It's not difficult. It works via a spreadsheet. So this website right here is a tutorial for how to use Doctopus, and it does the processes that we just did manually. It does them automatically for you, but your students do not have involvement. So when I did this in my classroom, I did have my students be involved because that was just my choice as a teacher. I hope that helps, and have a great day. Bye-bye.